The failure of the fuel system on board this Airbus-built, flight-for-life tagged helicopter couldn't have been more obvious. As fuel poured into the cockpit, a flight nurse burned alive.
The helicopter that we had was brand new, and I expected it to have all the safety features, and it was billed to us as having extra safety features.
Dave Repsher says this should have been the last time anyone had to suffer the way he did in Frisco, Colorado in 2015. More than 90% of his skin burned that day. And yet, less than 2 weeks after he reached a $100 million settlement with Airbus and the helicopter's operator, it happened again. Another survivable crash, another deadly fire, this time in the Grand Canyon.
No lessons were learned out of all this. That's what it seemed to us.
The National Transportation Safety Board, in this report on the Grand Canyon crash, put it this way: those in seats 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7 died solely from burns and smoke inhalation. In other words, minus the fire, they would have walked away.
That crash was gut-wrenching. We just felt so helpless.
Amanda and Dave Repsher knew the problem far too well. Far too many helicopters flew with fuel tanks so brittle they easily ruptured after otherwise survivable crashes. We spent years investigating the problem, a problem Congress partially fixed.
Which is designed to improve helicopter fuel system safety for newly manufactured helicopters.
Partially fixed in 2018 when it required this: any newly built helicopter had to have a crash-worthy fuel system on board. What Congress didn't address: the thousands of helicopters already in use, the so-called legacy fleet.
We knew that we couldn't get angry about it because the anger would consume us. So instead we decided that we just have to focus on how we can make a difference.
And so the Repshers continue to go to trade shows to talk to manufacturers, operators, and pilots about the continued problem. And then, at a recent conference, someone handed them this letter.
At least it's an acknowledgement on Airbus's part that it's time for them to do something.
Airbus Helicopters, Inc. says it will now offer CRFS, or crash-resistant fuel system retrofit kits, free of charge to U.S.-based operators on its helicopters that remain vulnerable to post-crash fires.
And now that this is going to be free for owners and operators, it's certainly our hope that the rest of that legacy fleet gets retrofitted.
There is no guarantee owners and operators will take advantage of this, and the Repshers remain skeptical of the motives. Recently, the Grand Canyon crash resulted in yet another $100 million payout.
I think the insurance companies are really the ones stepping up to put the pressure on the industry to change their ways.
But this they say is a good sign nonetheless. The technology to fix the problem is decades old. It should have been in place then when this happened, but there's no excuse for it to happen again. People no longer need to burn. Chris Vanderveen, 9 News.
The Repshers have spent years working on this, along with the widow of the pilot who died in the crash. The fix does require owners and operators to take their helicopters out of commission, potentially for weeks. You should note, Air Methods voluntarily retrofitted their entire fleet after that crash in Frisco.